The 500,000-line leak. Anthropic accidentally published the entire 512,000-line source code for Claude Code to the public NPM registry on March 31st. This leak exposed the internal orchestration layer that turns a predictive model into a reliable agent. Within the TypeScript files, researchers found a specific mechanism called strict write discipline. It is not a prompt instruction or a suggestion in a system message. It is a hard-coded architectural gate that prevents the model from updating its internal memory index until a file write is physically confirmed by the operating system. This solves the primary failure mode of AI agents, where the model assumes a tool worked and proceeds to hallucinate subsequent steps based on a failed state. Architectural gates over soft prompts. For years, developers tried to fix model laziness by asking the AI to take a deep breath or think step by step. The leaked code proves Anthropic has moved past these soft constraints. Strict write discipline functions as a sequential decoding constraint, where the model is pushed into a multi-phase state machine. Phase 1 requires a mandatory scratchpad that must match a predefined schema. If the model fails to populate specific fields in this scratchpad, the inference is rejected at the hardware level. This forces the transformer to allocate its attention weights to task constraints, rather than rushing toward a predicted answer. It is a brute force approach to consistency that moves the burden of reliability from the developer to the scaffolding itself. The Spec First protocol. Internal documentation from the April leak describes a protocol known as Spec First. Before the model generates a single line of executable code, it is forced to spend up to 20 minutes of compute exploring the codebase and reviewing relevant files. This produces a written plan as a persistent artifact. By treating the model's own memory as a hint rather than a ground truth, the system verifies every local file path and dependency against the actual disk state. Data from the May 2026 Stanford AI Index suggests this architectural friction is the only reason Claude currently leads in multi-file debugging benchmarks, as it prevents the context entropy that usually kills long-running agentic sessions. The latency-reliability trade-off. This structural rigidity comes with a massive performance tax. Benchmarks of the new Opus 4.7 show a 40% increase in time to first token compared to OpenAI's 05. In April, Anthropic attempted to mitigate this by lowering the default reasoning effort from high to medium, but they were forced to revert the change after coding quality plummeted. The data reveals a hard ceiling. You cannot have high autonomy agents without high latency verification. The industry is splitting into two distinct paths. There are fast, fluid models for conversation, and there are heavy, slow, state-managed models for actual work. If a model isn't making you wait for its internal verification loop, it is likely cutting corners that will lead to a production failure. The shift to verifiable state machines. The emergence of strict write discipline signals that we have reached the limit of what pure linguistic prediction can achieve for autonomous work. By moving from the soft prompts discussed in Section 2 to the hard-coded state gates exposed in the leak, Anthropic is treating AI agents more like traditional distributed systems and less like creative writers. This is the end of the magic black box era for high-stakes automation. For builders, this means your job is pivoting from prompt engineering to schema design. Your value no longer lies in finding the right words, but in defining the mandatory scratchpad fields and verification checks that force the model to stay on track. This architectural shift will be formalized with the expected July release of the Open Reasoning Standard, which aims to standardize these hidden reasoning formats across all major labs. Watch the upcoming Mythos model family for the first native integration of these protocols directly into the weights, rather than just the orchestration layer. Subscribe for more.